Okay, so before I show you how to mark this image up and some of the tools that you've got access to right here, I just want to remind you that you have to cite all of your sources. And I talked to our librarian about the best way to do that. She said at this point, it's fine if you just copy the link and put the link in at the bottom of your slide. There are more official ways of doing that, but for what we're doing, it's fine to just do the link. So I'm going to go back to the website that I got the image from. Now, this is why I said it's really important when you are going to just Google that you actually visit the site itself that you are getting the image from. You're not going to put that you got the image from Google. Google doesn't own this image. So here, you're going to click the address. I'm going to close out of this. The less tabs, fewer tabs I have open, the better, right? For video purposes. And then I'm going to enter it into a text box. So I already had a text box in existence. If I didn't have a text box in existence, I just deleted it. I will show you how to make one. You click text box, and then you put the box wherever you want it. And you can always change the size and change where it is. And I'm going to paste this right there, and I want to make it a link as well. So I'm going to highlight it and click my link, insert link button up here, and there we go. It turns it into a link. I think that your font size should be like 12 or 14 because 12 to 14 because it's not like really super important. I mean, it is important, but it's not like what your readers are going to focus on when they're looking at your slideshow. So, and just put it down in the bottom, kind of keep it out of the way. So you did your due diligence. Okay, so now we want to do some editing on this. Here's some tools we can use. This, we already talked about how we can shrink or enlarge our image. This button here that has like the little circle, if you click and hold, it will rotate your image. You can also rotate a text box. So, put that back how it was. If I wanted to rotate this text box, I could click that and I could make the text go crazy. It's kind of cool. That's how I got some of my comments to be like along the side where I was labeling the center of rotation or something like that. Okay. I used a lot of this tool here. You have lines, arrows, polylines, scribbles, curves. I used a lot of the lines and the arrows really for my presentation. So let's say I want to point to something specific. I'm going to select the arrow option. And I'm going to draw an arrow by clicking, holding my mouse, and dragging the arrow out to wherever. And it gives me some options like, oh, maybe I could connect it to this dot. Maybe I could connect it to this dot. You don't have to use one of those dots. So this arrow is kind of thin, and it's just black. What if I want it to be thicker? This button here that says line weight lets you select how thick and just like how thick the arrow is. And just like in font, the larger the number, the thicker the arrow will be. So let's say I want it to be 4. You can also change what the arrow looks like at the end. It's kind of fun to play with that a little bit. And you can also change what it looks like at the other end. So you can have an arrow on both ends. You could have like a box on one end. Actually, I don't really like that very much. Okay, if it turns out like, oh no, the arrowhead is here, but I wanted it pointing down this way, you can just click on one of the sides of the arrow, hold your mouse down and drag it around, and it will change the direction of your arrow. So now it's pointing that way. Again, you can drag the arrow around. Whoops, that's not the arrow. So you can change, what it's pointing at and where it's going. So let's say, there we go. Say I wanted to point at that. All right. You can also change the color of the arrow. This option here, line color. So let's say I really want it to stand out. So I'll make it red. And there you go. Now, if I wanted to add a text box here to like put a label, I could just select my text box key. Our option and draw in a text box that I would be able to label. I actually don't want that, so I'm going to delete it.